Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Billy Quarantillo to defeat Edson Barbosa. And I'm here to talk about the main event for UFC 294, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski 2. This is one of the greatest short notice fights ever, probably the greatest. And it is a bona fide super fight that we get on short notice. So you got to give credit to both guys, but especially to Volkanovski, stepping up on short notice, just like Kamaru Usman, balls of steel, and just an incredible move. Because, you know, these guys are legends at this point. They care about their legacies. You hear them talk about their greatness every single time they get interviewed, the great things they've done and will do, and how they want to be remembered and whatever. And they have to know that context only lasts a few weeks. And if you lose, eventually all that matters is the red blotch on your record. So both guys putting it all on the line, and I'll be honest, I hope it works out for both of them. Volkanovski, he is 35 years old, 26-2, and he's given up 4 inches of height, but has 1 inch of reach over 31-year-old Islam Makhachev, who is 24-1. I'm not going to go through their whole records. I'm just going to talk about their losses, one of which being their first fight. Islam Makhachev has one loss, and it's to Adriano Martins, who knocked him out at UFC 192, the day of my cousin's wedding. And Islam was knocked out pretty much with one punch. He wasn't unconscious, and some would argue it was stopped too early, but he was taken out of the fight with one punch and was rocked. Volkanovski, he's got 2 losses, one via knockout. I think that was in his third fight, and he lost to a welterweight named Corey Nelson, who had a 12-5 record at the time of the fight. I haven't seen it, but I've seen footage of it. The guy's a big, strong welterweight, and he pressured him and head kicked him against the ropes, I think. I don't know. But that's it, and his other loss is to Islam Makhachev. And that was at lightweight, by the way. So Volkanovski's never lost at his natural weight of featherweight. But the first fight is what is most relevant here, and I did rewatch it, and I thought it was a very compelling matchup, but I thought Islam had some distinct advantages in the fight. In the end, I thought Volkanovski showed to have the overall better traits, and I thought he won the fight, not just with the knockdown, by the way. I thought he had Islam fatigued even before the knockdown. For like a minute before it, Islam seemed gasping for air, looking at the clock. He seemed out of it and waiting for the fight to end. And Volkanovski was growing stronger. So they both showed strengths and weaknesses. And I think Volkanovski certainly is going to try to make adjustments here. If I had to guess, I'd say his first adjustment would be to pressure Islam more, to go after it, which is not so simple. He has to go through the striking of Islam Makhachev, which is a lot easier said than done, because Islam Makhachev is now a very good striker, and he showed so in that fight. I mean, he throws really good, rangy strikes, straight strikes, jabs and straights, as well as hooks, where he has some good power. He's never going to be known for his power, probably. He'll probably never be known for any of his skills, aside from his grappling, because he's so good. But he definitely has some good striking every which way. He can be the brawler, he can be the sharp striker, and he's also got some crafty combinations and step-in knees. Controls the range really well against a guy in Volkanovski who, despite being shorter, does have an inch of reach on him. But again, he's given up 4 inches of height, so it's not all just the reach there. But Islam was still vulnerable to Volkanovski on the outside. Volkanovski's a really good striker on the outside. It's not like he's just some short guy who's absolutely got to get in. He's got some long arms, and he's a crafty striker himself. He, of course, had to step into Islam and come in with these planned attacks, and he was mixing shit up very well. I thought he landed one of his best strikes, maybe his second best strike after the 5th round knockdown, and I thought it was in the first round when he landed a switch straight left that kind of stunned Makhachev. But after that, it was Volk coming in, mixing in a lot of combinations, bodies and punches and kicks to the body and head, but also stepping in and throwing singular strikes, timing a well-timed leg kick or body kick. And Volkanovski was making him guess and doing very well. But I still thought Islam was better in general because Volkanovski did have to worry about the power coming back his way from Islam Makhachev, and he couldn't just get through the guard of Islam, the striking of Islam. So I think Islam Makhachev, with no adjustments, would be winning the striking battle. Volkanovski, I expect to bring more pressure, and that could help this fight devolve into more of a brawl, which would be a lot more interesting. But even then, I don't know who would win the power versus chin battle. So I'm expecting a new fight, but I'm also expecting a lot of what we saw initially, which is Islam Makhachev in general being able to win the points battle on the range when things are slow, and when they get tangled up, Islam Makhachev being able to rip Volkanovski to the mat and secure top position. Volk, I thought, was able to handle Islam better than anybody did when Islam's on top of him, but he still wasn't able to get Islam off of him. Not every time, anyway. Yeah, Volkanovski's got short legs, and he gets him in between he and his opponent, grabs some butterfly hooks, and he'll make shit happen. But the Islam is still a guy that, even if he doesn't plan on going through you with his grappling, he can secure position, and he's incredibly strong himself. And I think no matter how Volkanovski's gotten better, and I'm sure he has gotten better, doing nothing but training with Craig Jones since that fight and going through 2 camps now, or 1 camp, but I think Islam Makhachev will always have that control advantage over Volkanovski. And I'm picking Islam Makhachev to win this fight. I'm picking him to win this fight. I think he's got more ways to win. I think I will bet on him to win by KO TKO. Absolutely a bet on him to win by KO TKO, because I think his best chance of getting a finish could even be a clean knockout on the feet. Not that he's Mr. Knockout himself, but it's the only way Volk's ever been finished. And Islam Makhachev, I think, is going to have a tough time submitting Volkanovski. A really tough time, even if everything's going his way. I think it would be 5-10-8 before he secured a submission. But the TKO can come on the ground as well. And to do that, you just need positional advantage and a lot of control. And I think if Islam was able to pin Volkanovski and flatten him out, which is a pretty damn tall order, or get him against the cage or whatever, I think a TKO on the ground is more likely than even a submission. So damn right I bet on that prop, or I will bet on that prop. But Islam Makhachev is the pick, and I bet on him to win. I bet on him to win. His decision line is plus 160. His money line, I think, is like minus 250 right now, whatever. But decision, I think, is his primary path to victory. Volkanovski, again, he's one of the only guys, maybe the only guy that I'd say won't get submitted in a 5-round fight with Islam Makhachev, even taking the fight on short notice. And I think Islam knows Volkanovski's a guy that you have to worry about deep into the fight, and he's got to secure control and not burn himself out. So Islam Makhachev is the pick. I think Volkanovski's going to be minding his P's and Q's, trying to not let Islam in on his hips. But in order to find success standing up, he's going to have to. And I think Islam is good enough where once he's in tight and he's got a little bit of leverage, he'll get Volk down and turn a corner and secure back control or whatever and find control. Islam Makhachev is the pick. Volkanovski is the hope. I really hope he wins. And, nothing would make me happier. But I've got to go with my pick, Islam Makhachev. I picked him to dominate Volk in the first fight, and I was very, very impressed with what I saw from Volkanovski. And while that's only convinced me that Volk won't get finished, it hasn't convinced me that Islam still won't largely dominate the fight. Islam Makhachev, I think these odds are pretty fair. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.